Hello students, I am Navdeep Kaur, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Cultural Studies and Foreign Languages, Khalsa College, Patiala. In this video lecture, I will be continuing my discussion on the chief characteristics and literary trends of modern period. As I have already discussed some of the chief traits of modern age in part 1 of this video lecture. Modern period is described as an age of interrogation, age of machinery, exploration, and age of experimentation as well as development. This age can be considered as an opposition to the Victorian period and its literary trends and movements. Modern period is one of the prominent periods in the history of literature. In this period, there is a kind of development and progression in almost all the spheres of life. Now let's begin our discussion on some other features of the modern age. There is rapid progress of education in 20th century. Educational facilities are available to all the classes of people. Literacy rate has improved and due to this reason, the love for the study of books has increased. The rapid progress of education has resulted in the increase in publication of books. Now let's examine another characteristic of this age. In the modern period, the principle of art for life's sake gains eminence. The earlier doctrine of art for art's sake becomes obsolete. The modern age also shows the growing interest of the people in the poor and working classes. The literary writers vividly present the social, economic, political conditions of the times in their works. Now, next important characteristic of the age is literary experimentation. New techniques have been devised to reflect the void and emotional trauma, fragmentariness and alienation of modern society. A new group of literary writers emerged, known as Bloomsbury Group. This group has brought about a revolution in literary writing style because of their intellectual liberalism. The members of this group, named as Bloomsbury Group, have tried to fill up the atmosphere full of doubt, uncertainty, pessimism with the help of literary experimentation. These writers are known as avant-garde writers, consisting of Virginia Woolf, E.M. Forster, Aldous Huxley, etc. They experiment with the new modes and techniques, and they also point towards the direction of humanity and emancipation. Now, during modern period, various changes have taken place in the literary field. In modern age, literature has been employed for social purposes in order to reform the society by highlighting its maladies and weaknesses. The chief aim of depicting social problems in the works is to highlight them in order to eradicate them from the society, in order to eradicate these issues from the society altogether. Now, let's discuss modern novel. In modern literature, the novel has become the dominant literary trend, the dominant literary form, and it is through the medium of this novel, it is through this medium that the social problems have been highlighted. The novel acts as a vehicle which enables the novelist to depict the sociological and psychological problems of the age. In modern novel, the story does not move in a chronological order, and sometimes the hidden meaning is conveyed through the use of symbols. Now comes modern drama. Now let's have an idea of modern drama. In modern literature, drama has gained eminence, it has gained remarkable recognition and revival. Modern drama is influenced by Ibsen's theatre of ideas. Bernard Shaw, Galsworthy, T.S. Eliot made significant contribution in the field of drama. A new kind of drama called as poetic drama becomes famous in this period. T.S. Eliot and W.B. Yeats popularized this genre of drama known as poetic drama. Then is modern poetry. Modern poetry can be considered as a poetry of revolt. It was a revolt against tradition. Modern poetry is highly experimental in form and content. Poets like T.S. Eliot, W.B. Yeats, W.H. Auden, Ezra Pound reflected the disintegration of society and moral values in their poems. Squalor of industrial civilization was also present during this age in modern poetry. New experiments were tried in almost all the branches of literature. The traditional forms were thrown out, and in their place, new literary experiments were made in the field of poetry, drama, and novel. So, this is all about modern novel, modern drama, and modern poetry. Now, during modern period, numerous literary trends emerged. The traditional genres still exist in literature of modern age, but for the most part, most of it, they have undergone radical changes. So, numerous trends are there in this age like symbolism, imagism, expressionism, surrealism, stream of consciousness, and impressionism. Now, one by one, let's have an idea of these features. Now, let's begin with symbolism. Symbolism is a form of expression in which unseen reality is apprehended by the consciousness. It was started in France. Symbolism represents the things by means of symbols. So, symbolism is a significant movement of this period. The symbolist movement was a kind of reaction against a type of language that says rather than suggests, as Mallarmé an important exponent of this movement, says that poetry should not inform, rather it should suggest and evoke. It should not name things but create their atmosphere. So, another great scholar of this age, named as Arthur Symons, in his book The Symbolist Movement in Literature, says that to name is to destroy, but to suggest is to create. So, these are the viewpoints of some of the great scholars of this period regarding symbolism. Now, James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, Lawrence, Conrad, Huxley are some of the important British novelists who used symbols in their works. The symbolist movement, in a way, ushered in modernist revolution in literature. So, this is about one of the important trends of modern age, that is symbolism. Now, the next one is imagism. Now, first of all, let's have an idea that how can we define this term imagism. Imagism is the literary movement in early 20th century. The Imagists were a group of poets including Ezra Pound, Emmy Lowell and T.E. Hume. Imagists believed that poetry should represent images rather than ideas or emotions. In poetry, there should be the use of common language rather than poetic language. Then precision and directness is another important feature of imagism. Now, the next one is expressionism. Expressionism is another significant movement. Another important movement of modern period is expressionism. Instead of representing the world as it objectively is, the author aims to express inner experience by representing the world as it appears to his state of mind or to one of his characters. For example, T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land may be considered as a perfect example of the use of this technique in poems, the use of the technique of expressionism. So, this poem reflects the fragmentariness of the post-war desolation and integration. This movement, expressionism, relies more on the expression of inner experience objectively. So, this is about expressionism. Now comes another movement, impressionism. Let's discuss impressionism. Impressionism concentrates on mental impressions and not on the explanation of their external causes. Its primary focus is to describe the transitory mental impressions as felt by an observer. The main literary figures who are associated with this movement of impressionism are ALFRED, CLAUDE, MONET and CEZANNE. Next comes surrealism. Surrealism is an outgrowth of symbolist movement. It attempted to express the apparently disordered order of the unconscious mind. Surrealism was highly influenced by Freudian theory. It represents a dream-like sequence, it represents a dream world and illogical as well as inexplicable tendencies in the works. Next one is stream of consciousness novel. This is another very important movement important literary trend of this age, that is stream of consciousness technique. Now let's have an idea that what does this mean. The novelists who use this technique, who use the technique of stream of consciousness, make consciousness the central subject in the novels, in their works as the central subject. The stream of consciousness metaphorically suggests the continuity of mental processes. This technique in this novel, stream of consciousness novel, is a type in which the basic emphasis is placed on the exploration of pre-speech levels of consciousness. The stream of consciousness technique is one way to analyze human nature and to depict the individual's psychic life accurately. With the use of stream of consciousness technique, the emphasis is on the internal conflict rather than the external process, rather than the external phenomena. Conrad's Lord Jim, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, James Joyce's work Ulysses, they may be considered as perfect examples of stream of consciousness novel. So this is about this technique of stream of consciousness novel. The modern period has been considered as the period of significant developments in the fields of literature, science, politics, technology, etc. Modern age is an age of innovations as well. The literature of modern period is a literature of reconstruction of new values. It is the most complex and revolutionary age in the history of English literature. The modern world witnesses an explosion of knowledge, and the literature of this age has been greatly influenced by this explosion. So this is all about the chief characteristics and literary trends of modern period. Thank you so much for watching this video lecture.